Hey everyone, hope you guys are enjoying Monster Hunter in whichever fashion you're choosing to play it as. And today I wanted to have a little bit of a discussion topic regarding specifically Monster Hunter Now and how players are starting to compile criticisms towards the game, rightfully so by the way, that are making it harder and harder, not just to keep playing it, justify of course the time that you're giving to the game, but also stopping new players from jumping in, although Capcom and Niantic would say otherwise. Recently, they just reported that there's up to 10 million players who have downloaded the app already. They don't necessarily tell you how many concurrent players there are, but if they've already gotten 10 million players to download it, that is a pretty good step. However, there have been a multitude of criticisms levied towards the game, from performance to replayability to drop rates, and a lot of those things I think are fair, and some of the things that I've kind of pointed out in the past when I'm doing videos reporting on information regarding Monster Hunter Now, mostly leaks, where I kind of adjacently mention some of the rated criticisms. I've gotten some pushback myself in the comment section, which I still welcome by the way, but some people are obviously fans of the game, they enjoy it, but there's been plenty of criticism levied towards it. And Niantic is not necessarily making things any better. So today, I wanted to not just discuss some of the criticisms that have been levied as of recently, specifically when it comes to the drop rates and how they're adjusting the drop rates to some degree by providing players with certain items, but now they're starting to charge items for carving knives, which are gonna allegedly fix some of these issues. But as you're gonna be seeing in a minute, those drop rates are still not actually being fixed, even with higher possibility for you to be able to get your hands on some of those items. First and foremost, I'm going to give a huge shout out to Dexterdo. They've been putting out a couple of really good articles regarding Monster Hunter Now and the players' criticisms towards some of the issues that are happening in the game. Just a few weeks ago, they put out an article called Monster Hunter Now Players Want Drop Rates Changed, as this worse than Diablo 4. If you haven't been playing Diablo 4 like I have, you would know that the drop rates in that game are pretty atrocious, especially endgame. I know they recently adjusted some things, but still, they're not necessarily great. And when a lot of players are saying that Monster Hunter Now drop rates, especially when it comes to S-star, 8-star monsters, are not necessarily great, well, that's because they're speaking from experience. A lot of players have reached the end game and they're not necessarily getting the rewards that they want. In one of the more recent articles, Dexterdo points out that Monster Hunter Now players issue a warning over carving knives double rewards. This actually goes back to a Reddit post from a relatively popular user named Rodridox, I want to say. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Link in the description below for the Reddit thread, and then a couple of the articles that I'm going to be referencing to as well. In said Reddit post, they talk about people who are using carved knives on rarity 5 drops from 6-star monsters. He mentions that he has reached 8-star monsters as of the previous weeks and is able to drop rarity 6-star materials. Since then, they have killed over 100 of the 8-star monsters, mostly Puke and Gyrdis, and only found 1 Wyvern Germ Shard, and 4 of those are needed to be upgraded into weapons. Not only are the drop rates bad, but it's hard to find 8-star monsters, so basically save your carving knives if you get them. Don't waste them on 6-star or 5-star or even 7-star monsters, because those drop rates are atrocious and they're supposed to double your drop rates, but ultimately they're not getting the job done. So this entire conversation starts out with, yes, you can get better drop rates, but even once you get those 8-star monsters, which you might be needing really rare drops like the Wyvern Germ Shards, you're still not going to be able to get them relatively easy, even if you do decide to save up your knives. Worse off, like we reported back just a few days ago when I spoke about the Halloween event upcoming, within a few days or so, or as is happening right now, based on when this video goes live, you should already know that there's going to be a couple of item packs available in the store for actual money, real dollars, that are going to be providing carving knives for you to be able to go ahead and use them, specifically promoting the idea that you're going to be able to get better rewards. But as the post already confirms said drop rates are not necessarily even being doubled. They're just, the drop rates are still as atrocious as ever. It gives you a chance to be able to get more items, but they're not necessarily improving said drop rates. So now there's a lot of discussion being had regarding the carving knives itself. In the article, they mentioned that Monster Hunter Now carving knives enable players to double their rewards at the end of a successful hunt, especially allowing them to duplicate the rarest monster materials. This can save you a lot of time, especially when the drop rates for prime scales, wyvern germs, and plates can be incredibly low. In fact, in the game's community has already pointed out the Niantic over the lackluster drop rates, with some even going as far as to say that it's worse than Diablo 4, like I mentioned in the previous article. Fortunately, the carving knife item can help alleviate the grind for certain materials, but one high-level player has issued a warning for those using said item. They, of course, requote Roderick Rock's post on Reddit, which I already read, and then they mention that, of course, the drop rates are bad, but, basically you want to save them for A-star monsters. One of the high-level players agreed that many stating how their progress has hit a wall. Higher grades and part drops are incredibly sparse. They've killed more monsters than buddies who are tens above levels above them, yet their equipment upgrades don't show any similar progression. With high-grade weapons and armors requiring a lot of rare monster parts, one upgrade can take a huge amount of time and effort. This is especially true when you're building multiple equipments and weapons for each element. Because of this, it certainly seems like hunters should save their carving knives for special occasions, like a once-in-a-lifetime drop from a Rathlos. But again, just because you're getting double drop rates, that doesn't mean you're actually getting higher percentage of rarer drops. It just multiplies the chances for you to be able to get them, but it doesn't guarantee anything, and it doesn't improve the rarity of said item. So if it was just the items appearing, in your inventory as naturally, and maybe a monster drops them, maybe a special request reward or something along those lines, and you're getting multiple knives, and let's say you're just sitting at a bank with like constantly 30, 40, 50, knives available to you, that's all well and good. It probably wouldn't be that much of an issue. But when they're sparse, the knives are not necessarily common, and then they're starting to charge you for knives becoming available through a special event, knowing damn well the drop rates are atrocious, and basically they're trying to get you to get those materials. Specifically, ignore the ones that you need for your armor. Try to get these materials for this specific event throughout the Halloween experience. All of a sudden you see the gacha mechanics in play, and you see how grimy the free mobile experience becomes. It's all about accumulating the most amount of profits, and they don't particularly care about advancing your experience in any way, shape, or form, and they're chasing whales. This is exactly the real criticism that a lot of players end up having towards mobile games. Now, of course, there's many of the criticisms that can be had. The roster of monsters, the lack of biomes. I recently spoke about the 2 leaked brand new biomes making their way into the game, presumably as part of the December update. There's plenty of other good things happening, and there's plenty of criticism to be had, but one of the biggest pillars to keep you playing is not necessarily the monsters, it's not just how much fun you're having, for a lot of players, it's just upgrading your armor sets, becoming stronger, and getting better rewards. And we're not even feeding you that side of the entire experience, the chemistry of having fun with this game. Then Niantic certainly has a lot to work when it comes to fulfilling this experience to players and making sure that they're having a good time. For me personally, I've said this multiple times now in separate videos, I've stopped playing altogether because it just doesn't do anything for me. I would love to be able to just play this game naturally with normal progression like every other Monster Hunter game that we've had that's not on mobile devices, and just be able to have a good time. But because of the RNG mechanics, and on top of the fact that they want me to walk around my neighborhood, which is something that I don't particularly want to be doing at the end of the day because I have long work days, I don't really want to be walking around my neighborhood at the end of the day. Certainly, this is something that a lot of players have complained about as well, but I'm presuming Niantic is going to try to add some of those quality of life. You don't have to walk all over the place to be able to gather whatever materials and monsters, and rarity monsters at that. Some of those are going to be added at a later date, in the same way that they did with Pokemon Go. This is one of the biggest criticisms levied to Pokemon Go originally, and they ended up kowtowing due to the pandemic. Maybe they won't do it this time around, but I think obviously them selling more materials and more items to be able to get players to just kind of like not have to walk around, and then of course get better drop rates would be something that at the end of the day would be beneficial for them and their bottom line, but I'm not sure that's beneficial for whole hunters involved. Once again, I want to give a very quick shout out to Dextero for their very good articles, and of course Rodri God I'm not sure again how to pronounce their name, and I apologize for that, for the original thread on Reddit regarding some of these details. But that's about all the information that I have for you guys today. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the button to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.